Sorry. All right. Review and act on the minutes of the September 2023 Board of Directors meetings. Or cool on it.
To approve. That's consent.
Do we have comments from the public and adjustments?
Okay. I didn't see anyone in the public, but okay.
Number 3.
Okay, consider an act on requests for adjustments to or relief from the specific charges imposed by the district.
I don't have any.
I have nothing this month.
Okay, all right. Move on to the consent agenda. Review and act on the minutes of the September 2023 Board of Directors meetings.
So on these, if there are any items that any directors want to pull out of the consent agenda, then we would consider pulling those out at this time. They're none.
I think we're good.
Then we can consider, you can call for a motion.
All right.
for the consent agenda.
So motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion. We approve.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's passed. Regular agenda, receive the regular monthly SJRA Woodlands Division report, including updates on operations, projects, and public outreach.
If it's okay with the board, I'd like to take 9 through 12 all at
Okay.
the same time.
Sure.
Some time. Item number 9, there's nothing really to highlight on the monthly operations report. What's going on in the Woodlands. You'll see that there's small changes on the report every single month. Lately, we're just trying to make it more fluid to read, easier to understand. So if y'all have any suggestions, recommendations, just pass it there for me and we'll see if we can get them on there. So item number 10 is probably the biggest thing that we talked about the trustees in last month. A lot of that started at MUD 46 and 47 as well. So what we've done is we've made a recommendation to pause the AC water lines for approximately 2 years to look at doing an AC water line condition-based assessment. So there's no action that's needed tonight. What we're doing is we've issued a request for qualifications. That usually takes about 3 months just to get it out on the street, get a consultant picked and start working on the scope. So early 2024 is when we look to come back to the MUDs and the trustees and say, basically, here's a plan. This is how much we think it's going to cost and do you approve it? So no action now. You're not going to hear anything about AC water lines till I'm guessing February to March timeframe. So we'll save you those 30 to 45-minute presentations. So.
Okay.
And then no update on Bear Branch and no update on Spring Creek. But if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay. All right, annual review of policy of FIN 10 regarding investment and disbursement of district funds and adoption of a resolution and amended policy in connection therewith.
So on item number 14, we do have the annual review of the district's investment policy. We conduct that review on behalf of all of our district clients. I know we've got a couple board members here for this one, so I'll kind of slow down on this item. This item is related to your investment policy, and so we have a uniform investment policy for each of the Woodlands MUDs. It's policy number FIN 10. That policy incorporates the various requirements of the Public Funds Investment Act. Our district, as well as all the MUDs, are subject to the Public Funds Investment Act, as are a number of other state entities, because we do hold public funds through taxes and also through water and sewer rates. So we're highly regulated on what we can do with those funds. The state policy is to be extremely conservative with public funds. The goal is to have preservation of capital, liquidity, and last is rate of return. So you're not going to see districts going out and investing in exotic financial instruments. There's actually listed the types of instruments that public entities can invest in. So we have an investment policy that incorporates all those various requirements. The Investment Act also requires that districts conduct an annual review of that policy. Our firm conducts that review on behalf of all of our district clients, because we work in this every day. We come to our boards each year and make recommendations to you as to whether or not you need to make any changes or whether you don't. Some years we don't have any changes, some years we do, and they may be more significant because there could have been a legislative change to the act that would have required some changes to be incorporated into the policy. Some years there's, minor, what I'll call more cosmetic or wordsmith revisions that we'll have. That's what this year is. We've got a handful of minor wordsmithing revisions that you'll see on the Google Drive version that's redlined. I don't typically print those out for you because it's pretty thick policy. If it's something that's significant and material, we'll probably go ahead and still print it in addition to having it on the Google Drive. This year was not one of those years. They're attached to the public funds, attached to your investment policy is a collateral security agreement. That agreement has to be entered into anytime the district does business with a bank that holds more than $250,000 of your funds. So, which is the FDIC limit. So what the state policy is if a financial institution holds more than 250,000, then you have exposure if there's a default of that bank. And so the way the state through the act has addressed that is to require that a bank put collateral up with a third party institution, and the act sets forth what that collateral can be. It can be T-bills or notes or different financial instruments that are allowable under the act. They put the bank has to put those financial instruments that are collateral with a third party institution, typically the Federal Home Loan Bank or a Federal Reserve Bank. And so the theory is if a bank were to default for some reason and it held $1 million of your money, you could go to FDIC for 250,000, and you could go to that third party custodian and draw on the collateral that was put up there to be able to be made whole and not have exposure. So anytime there is that in excess of 250, there's an agreement that has to be entered into between the bank that you're doing business with, the custodian who's going to be holding the collateral, and the district. We call that a collateral security agreement. In that agreement, there are standard representations that have to be in any contract that's with a public, most any public company that a district does, or most any company that a district does business with, that you won't, that company won't boycott Israel, that it won't boycott energy companies or firearm companies or do business with terrorist organizations. All this is from the state legislature. We have to put this in all these vendor contracts. So there were a few, minor changes to those statutes in this most recent legislative session that we needed to incorporate into the collateral security agreement. So long-winded explanation, but I know y'all are new board members and wanted to take the time to use this as an opportunity to talk about the investment policy in general and collateral.
Because basically a lot of it was just wordsmithing. Is that just because the legislator is making you change things? Just for example?
So, well, for example, there is language in here about it was added by, the statute was added by the Senate in a particular legislative session. Well, that was because it was the most recent session. We're 2 sessions away from that now. So we removed that reference. Now it's just reference to the code. There was another where there were a couple of revisions to language regarding the boycott Israel language that we cleaned up, but there's nothing substantive in terms of what the reps are that have to be made. And those are all, shown, like I said, on the red line. It's on the Google Drive, but happy to answer your question.
Anything in excess of 250,000 is collateralized.
Correct.
Has anyone considered just splitting that up into different banks?
Oh, yeah. So there's been a number of different ways to try to address this because after the 2008 financial crisis, thankfully, we didn't have any institutions, any of our district clients that I'm aware of, that had banks that defaulted, but it was heightened concern then. And so we did have some districts that went and just said, I'm going to go put 240,000 in a whole bunch of different banks. And that worked for a while. But as the requirements to deal with public funds increased and the interest rates that the banks were able to get using our money went down, their margins got smaller. There were a lot of banks that said, thanks, but no thanks. I appreciate you want to do business with us, but we're not really interested. And so we've gone through that situation as well, where you couldn't find a number of banks to be able to place the money within, 10 different institutions. So now what's done a lot of the time is that the investment officer or manager for the district will place the funds in what's called an intergovernmental risk pool, Techstar, TexPool, Texas Class. You'll see that on a lot of these. Those are not actually banks. Those are intergovernmental risk pools that are operated by the state, primarily through the comptroller. They don't have to collateralize because they're only invested in items or financial instruments that are authorized by the Public Funds Investment Act. So most of those don't collateralize, and they don't have to deal with that issue. So what we typically see now, a lot of the operating funds will go into technically Techstar, Texas Class. It's mainly your debt service account where you're not going to be doing that. You will actually have it at a bank. And so those funds will have to be collateralized. But other funds, they try to get around that. And the rates are better, frankly. I mean, TexPool, Techstar, Texas Class are getting 5.25% or more. And banks are still in the twos. You say, for the most part, twos, maybe 3.
Yeah, if they pay interest at all.
Yeah. So that's where you're going to get a better rate of return. It'll have pretty marginal risk. Other questions?
That's all, yeah.
Thanks. We do need a motion to approve the resolution evidencing that we've completed our annual review and to adopt the revised policy number FIN 10.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right, receive and or act on the general manager's report.
All right, good evening. Don't have any action items for us tonight. Just wanted to point out a couple things on the report. We have some drought and leak articles that are in there, as well as some customer prices that continue to come in. We really appreciate that. Want to report there were 4 water line leaks this last 30 days or so. 1 was an AC, 3 were PVC. Couple were Estrace larger lines, and a couple were Willis Water Agency. Wanted to report that I was on Between the Trees podcast last week on Wednesday, and so that is episode 120 will be posted on Woodlands Online. I think very shortly. I think you can find it now. Woodlands Online's Facebook page. You can find it, and then John will, I think, speak to. We're going to post that out as well. And with that, I'll get over to John for the communication.
All right.
Evening. You've got your communications report there, page 49 packet. And I did want to give another plug for the Between the Trees piece that Eric did with the chamber. It's a really good singular piece as far as encapsulating what's involved, our operations currently, our communication processes. It's a nice comprehensive look we do in a half an hour. So it's something you can hand out to folks, colleagues who might be looking for that type of thing.
What is the listenership of that vehicle, of that podcast?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's actually not a podcast. It is a video recording. They've been doing it for years. The chamber has. We'll push that out via eBlast ourselves.
Yeah, it's I know that it's definitely chamber viewership as well as Woodlands Online.
Okay.
Are the 2 major. Now, who subscribes to that? Obviously,
Right.
we know who
Or
subscribes to
chamber members, so not really the general population, probably.
of the Woodlands.
Yeah.
Probably not. That's
Yeah.
why we want to ping it
Right.
through our sources as well.
Okay.
Our resources.
For sure. All right, last month I reported to you on what we were seeing is some trends we were observing in communications in the public sphere. A lot of that coming in the drought, resulting in high water bills, some of the misinformation that was being bandied about, increase seemingly in traffic. Folks that were talking, we've seen that continue. over the last month. If we look at especially social media, we're still seeing those same themes going on because it's a long process to get folks educated on these issues. I do want to point out that the vast majority of what we see, at least on social media, seems to come from outside our boundaries, right? The folks with other providers, but there's a risk there for us that misinformation, those sentiments affect our customer base. They confuse our customers. That can happen.
Like, for example, what?
For example, I put a clip in here. Bob Lilac posted an excellent informative piece on surface water and use there, and it garnered over 15,000 views and over 100 comments, running the full gamut. And I will say there was some support in there too. There were folks chiming in with good information, but a lot of bad information in there. And again, a lot of that is coming from outside the Woodlands, but there are folks within the Woodlands communicating as well. So we want to be vigilant. We want to make sure we're continuing to put out more good factual information for our customers, make sure that they understand that as Woodlands Water customers, they're getting great value for their dollar and that we're making smart decisions on that. We've stepped up those types of communications on rates, on how understanding their bill, how that's calculated, infrastructure, surface water, and so forth. We'll continue to do that, and you'll see some examples here in a second. I would also encourage directors to help further that message. You're in a great position to do so with your knowledge level, and so share our stuff. All right, so if you see a good newsletter piece or something in the magazine, push that out to your friends, to your network. And then, of course, join us at any in-person events that we're at. We always love that. You can stop by for 10 minutes or the whole 4 hours or whatever it is. I'll show you the calendar here in a minute, what we have in the next month or so lined up. And then please keep giving us your feedback. What are you hearing? What are you saying? Let Eric and I know. That really helps us. Moving on to infrastructure renewal, that the communications consultant Holloway is at work now. They have a notice to proceed. They did get the notice to proceed. Yeah, okay. Just in the last few days. So we should have a strategic plan in our lap by the end of January. And then we'll begin to implement that immediately after. So you'll start seeing tangible effects of this whole process here in the next few months. On the next page, wanted to alert you to the ad on the back of the October bill, notifying folks of impending rate adjustments as of January 1, 2024. So we're starting to put that message out now to give folks as much notice as possible. I did want to note that your piece that was supposed to be stuffed in last month's bill, I don't know if you noticed that, did not get stuffed. That is a printer's error that should be going out in this next month's bill. So I apologize for the delay.
No problem.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah, I'm not sure where the error was exactly, but it assured me it's going out this way. All right, and then on the next page on 51, Woodlands Community Magazine. So we do have an article out now on the surface water conversion fee and the GRP. And then heads up for the November issue, we've got keys to understanding and lowering your water bill. I will send you emails with these just to ensure you. And finally, that calendar I mentioned is on 52. We do need to add this Sunday's event, the Cochran's Crossing Village Association Festival at Shadow Bend Park. We'll be out there on Sunday from 1 to 4. So that's Shadow Bend this Sunday, 1 to 4. We'll be out there. Any questions?
You put up a table or something like with handouts.
Yeah, so our, the standard format is we'll have a tent and table and chairs, a booth, outreach materials. We usually have some giveaways.
You'll have a lot of people there because I went to it last year.
Yeah.
And you get to talk to an awful lot of people. And it's really good grassroots visibility. So a lot of families come out there. Everybody's got like little vendor tables all over the place. They've got bands playing out there, bounce houses for the kids and stuff and that. And, but yeah, it's a great way to hand out stuff to the kids and talk to the parents at the same time.
Do you have a way to identify the mud directors? T-shirt or something? Name tag?
Good question. We don't. Staff has name tags. But if you're at the booth with us, folks will come up and you can identify yourself and, you know, right then. So you're gonna be having, if you join us, one-on-one conversations with
Handing
folks. You
out
can let
stuff.
them know. Maybe that's
Yeah.
something we can look at in the future. Some sort of identifier, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, trustees report? Don't have Hugh here, so.
Yeah, the, really wasn't anything specific over and above the summary in your packet. Talked about the water line update and it was mostly a couple updates from SDRA, which were pretty much summarized in the report. Anything major.
Okay.
I'll just add one update that I did forget. On page 42 in your packet, this all mud meeting is coming up October 24th. There's RSVP on there if you can. This is an important meeting because we're going to start going over the preliminary costs and the facility layouts. It starts getting down to what y'all have for a year ago. And this will be at the Woodlands office on this.
Okay. So you're going to be sending an RSVP out?
No,
Star CD.
yeah, you can RSVP. You can even let Eric or Shelley or one of them know and they'll pass it
Okay.
on to us. We'll do better next time. We've had to switch in staffing. So
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. All right, so recess to close session. Don't say we need that. Reconvene open session to authorize any action resulting from closed session. Guess not. And no comments from the public. Don't see any. Any matters for placements on future agenda? Okay.
Necessity, the meeting. I want to mention that, Eric.
Yeah, possibly, we probably put on the agenda for next month to talk about the necessity for a December meeting. In the past, December meetings have been, as it gets closer to this Christmas, I think last year they were canceled. So
We met.
if we don't have any, I think most of the districts didn't meet. And if we don't have anything major, then we'll consider that
Okay,
next month.
okay.
Yep.
I will let you know. All right, well, with that, I think we're adjourned. Thank you.